So are you ready to PR yourself? We'll remove the mystery from all things PR, and we'll discuss everything from our top strategies to tips and tricks and everything that you can utilize to further enhance your brand or your message. I've been in media, I'm a journalist, and I'm also a publicist. I am Leah Frazier, CEO of Think3 Media, and your host for PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. Let's go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. You guys, listen, you guys are blowing my mind. We just received notification that this podcast is in the top 30, number 29 actually, in the US for marketing podcasts and in the top 100 in Canada for marketing podcasts. So thank you to each and every one of you faithful listeners. Thank you guys for sharing this out. Thank you for interacting with me. Thanks for sharing it on social media. We're just extremely grateful that this project has reached the levels that it has in such a short period of time. So thank you again. And I want you guys to just get interactive. Go on pryourselfwithleahfrazier.com. Leave me a message and let me know if you have an episode suggestion or there's something going on with your business that you want me to bring in the experts to help and tell you how to PR it better. Again, get involved. You're going to go to the link in my bio at the Leah Frazier on Instagram, and I have a whole list of things you can do. You can join our private Facebook group. In that group, I go live. I tell you what's hot and trending in social media and marketing and PR. I put media leads in there. There's one I've got to do today. And you're also going to want to interact with the other women. And I think we have some men in that community now, in that private Facebook community, okay? Because I'm going to start growing that so that you guys can discuss among yourselves how to PR yourselves better as we move through 2021 and beyond. Also, if you're interested, we still have the monthly membership available. It's only $49 a month, and you can find information on that at think3media.com/think3edu. That is our monthly membership where I literally do a class session like I would teach with my students at the university. I do a class session on what's hot in marketing and public relations. I give you your takeaways. I give you something to work on for 30 days. And then several weeks later, we come back and we mastermind as a group to make sure that we're working on that one thing that you need to get worked on for that month. And we continue that monthly. And it's a great resource and it's a great way, an affordable way for you to hear from me. I bring in experts and also for you to have accountability. That way you're working through for solutions for your small business or as an entrepreneur. And lastly, you're going to want to stay tuned. Yes, pryourselfbook.com. You're going to want to sign up for that as we get closer to the book being released. But also you're going to want to go to PR Yourself with leahfrazier.com online. There's a tab called course, and you're going to want to sign up there because I am re-releasing my live course one last time. I know I said that before. I'm going to do it again. I have just revised it. I've created a couple more modules, and it's really going to go into a little bit more of an organized depth on how you can earn free media and press coverage consistently for your small business and your brand. And again, it's super duper affordable, and I want to offer that to you guys. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. And enjoy this latest episode, and I look forward to hearing from you all. All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. I'm back with a very, very special guest. I have not told him, but I am a fangirl. I have read The Wait backwards and forwards, then backwards and forwards again. And I was on his team, your book launch team for the Success Commandments. And so this very special author and producer, yes, I wasn't going to tell you until now. So I'm very happy to welcome DeVon Franklin to the show. I mean, he's all things inspiration, has written so many New York Times best-selling books. He's back today with a brand new book on sale May the 4th called Live Free. We all need this right now.
All right.
I mean, let me just tell you. So just welcome so much to my podcast. And thank you so much for spending some time with us today.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And I had no idea you were on the launch team. So thank you for your support.
You're very welcome. And I will say, sometimes it's a little bit unnerving, but you're very active on social. Sometimes you get a part of these launch teams and you don't know, and you were just retweeting everything, and it was making me jack to tell people about your book. So you
Oh,
are the real
good.
deal, the
Uh,
absolute real deal.
I love it. Listen, I'm excited about everything I do. So just, hey, if someone else is excited too, I'm like, oh, yo, we can do it. Let's go.
So what's been going on during the pandemic? Like what have you been working on? What's life like right now for you?
Listen, I mean, I think like everyone else, the pandemic brought with it, challenges and opportunities. The challenge of not being able to move in the way that, we all were accustomed to, and then the opportunity to, really rediscover who we are and what life's about, what direction we want to go in. And so for me, obviously my heart goes out to everyone that lost someone, during the pandemic. Um, and with that being said, for me, it's been a great time of reflection and a great time of just reorienting like who I am and what I want to do. And am I going in the right direction? And so being able to kind of recalibrate, I guess, is a better way to put it. And that recalibration has been great and, really, really eye opening. And it's just given me a lot of clarity on which direction I want to, go in and really giving me the confidence to, pull away from certain things and lean into other things.
So DeVon then, when all this started, to
Yeah.
DeVon now, totally different person, or just like DeVon 2.0?
I would say more of a 2.0. I wouldn't say completely different. I'm still who I am, but, hopefully becoming a more realized, fuller version of who I am.
I love what you were saying about just like the personal professional growth, because there was this meme that was going around when the pandemic first started, and it was like, if you're not writing a book, or you're not starting your business, and you're not doing this while you're in quarantine or in isolation, then what are you doing? I
Mm,
was kind of like, but we don't know what people are struggling with
that's
that
right.
may stop them from producing. But I think one of the cool things about you, I was just kind of cracking up when I linked up with your team, where I was like, well, not only did he write a full book, but the book in and of itself is like literally like 200, well over 250 pages. And I'm like, DeVon went to work, and not just for you, for all of us. And
Wow.
so
Thank
what
you.
what did you have to muster up to produce during a time where so many people, they just couldn't bring themselves to do it?
Yeah, it was really about mustering up the courage first and foremost, and then also to hitting what you said on the meme, and then I'll come back to the book for a minute. It's on social media, it's such a medium that can do a lot of positivity, but can also do a lot of damage. And so memes like that to me are damaging if they produce this negative feeling of, oh, I'm not doing enough, or I'm not enough, or if it produces shame, to me, that's not, no, it's like, no, everyone has their own journey. And for some, the pandemic was designed to just get you to pause and stop and not do anything, because maybe you were doing too much. And everyone has the journey of what that meant to them. And so seeing memes like that, and then, someone being tempted to judge themselves, to me makes me sad, because we all are on a journey and figuring this thing out. And so for me, I had already set up this book before the pandemic. It just so happened that when the pandemic hit, it gave me the time to write it. And what I wanted to talk about was the same. I was always going to talk about expectations, and it just so happened we were experiencing a time when all of our expectations were being upended. And so it took the courage, it took candor, and transparency. I did not write this book from a standpoint of, oh, I figured it all out. I wrote the book from a standpoint of like, we all have this feeling of who we want to be and where we want to go. And a lot of us feel a little held back. We feel restricted. We don't feel as successful as we like to feel. We're not going everywhere we would like to go. And a lot of that has to do with expectations. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. So I wanted to write the book for it to be an aha moment to say, oh, wow. So, it's my expectations that are running my life. Oh my goodness. Okay. How do I get control of that? So it really required the confidence, the candor, and then really wanting to just connect with the reader in a very dynamic way. And that process was difficult. I mean, writing is hard. I had a co-author who helped me, and even with the help, it's hard. It's really, really hard because I'm one of those writers. I'm in it. I'm in every word, every sentence, all of it. I just don't hire somebody and tell them to go write a book and I put my name on it. I don't know how to do that. So it was a difficult process, but I'm proud of it, and hopefully it'll touch people who read it.
So it's called Live Free. Subtitle is Exceed Your Highest Expectations. We'll get into a little bit of the 4 different realms that you touch upon, and then we'll even get down to this word expectation. But for you, because I guess I thought it was COVID that kind of sparked this, but you're saying there was,
Yeah.
this was before.
Before.
So what incident, or was it a set of incidences, or what sparked within you where, or was it a circumstance where you said, I have to get this out? When did you realize that you had those expectations that maybe were prohibiting you to live free?
Yeah, because I was just looking at how I was feeling, and a lot of times I was just feeling frustrated and disappointed and, feeling less than and all of it. So I'm like, man, where are all these feelings coming from?
Mind-blowing, because like
I
on the
know.
outside, everybody's like, DeVon is like, and you even talk about it in the book where maybe people put you on this pedestal, like, and you have those expectations for yourself of being perfect, but you are the person that people look to for hope and
Yeah.
inspiration. And when we have those individuals, we don't associate them with, oh, they're human beings too, and maybe they have things
Right.
that they struggle with. So I was very shocked, like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, the
Yeah.
transparency, he's a perfectionist, he's down
Right.
with himself. I never
Oh, yeah.
these things.
Yeah, and that's why I wanted to be honest and transparent. It's like, yo, here's the stuff I'm dealing with. Here's what I'm going through. Here's what I'm navigating, and and again, like something I tried to articulate in the book is that I have a very big vision for my life and who I am, and the service that I offer, and a greater service I believe I can offer. So while all those things are great, they can also become tortuous if they're allowed to be. So for me, the wanting to be and the wanting to grow, like at times was just so like, oh, so even with all the success, it's never enough. It's never enough. So as I perpetually got to the place where I was just experiencing a lot of disappointment, I said, well, what's happening? Right. Because, I'm doing well. I am successful, like, I know that, you know what I mean? So what's the problem? And then when I realized, I said, oh, the problem is my expectations.
Mhm.
I have these expectations that if I don't meet them, I'm devastated. And not only if I don't meet them, if I don't meet them, then I judge myself. Then I say, oh, you're not good enough and you're not who you think you are. And all of these negative things. And so as I started to have the revelation about myself, a lot of people who were coming to me for help were expressing similar symptoms. And then I was like, oh, we all have the same problem. It's expectations. And then that's when I realized, oh, expectations are the secret software running all of our lives. So we're not reacting to the events of reality. We're reacting to what we expected of reality. So if something goes above our expectations, we're happy. If something doesn't hit our expectations, we're devastated. If someone does meet our expectations, we love them. If someone doesn't meet our expectations, we're tired of them. And so as a result, it was like, wait, if we can set our expectations and get control of expectations, that then might become a better lens to which we view our entire life. So maybe if our life stayed the same, but our expectations were set, we would see things completely different. That was why I wrote this book. And this is why I'm so passionate about it.
And I love that you did it. I think the drop is timely. So God does everything
Yeah.
at the right time, because when everybody had to go through this isolation period or quarantine, what's the one thing we're doing? We're connecting digitally. And so if you had that expectation, and this is just my opinion, and you're on your devices all day long because that's the only thing that you can connect with, then maybe all of these these feelings of, maybe I'm not worthy enough or my value is enhanced because what are you doing all day is looking at other people's stuff, or it's magnifying all those symptoms that you said you need to work on.
Totally,
It's just
totally,
crazy.
totally, 1000%.
And so now you guys can work on yourselves at home because you've got a book to be able to do it.
That's it.
I love, because you have reflection pieces after every single chapter. So it's definitely not anything that I would rush through. You would definitely want to unpack. But moving right along, we've seen a lot of things kind of come up during the pandemic, mental health issues, people struggling with anxiety, like you've coined, like unnecessary stress. So before they even approach your book in trying to live free, according to what you've mapped out, what should their mindset be like? And I don't want to say what should their expectation be before getting into the book, but hey, I mean, like, it is what it is. Like, how can they prep? Because this is work. I'm not even kidding you. It is like, you need to go buy a journal.
Yes.
Do a chapter.
That's true.
Fill it out. Let it breathe. Like, don't read the book so you can meet your book list for 2021. No, like, do a chapter, let it breathe, and it's work. And some things you discover is devastating because you're unpacking. It's like going to therapy, but in this book. Have a therapist, great. You're gonna do more.
Right. No, I mean, it is. It's so interesting that you say that because, as I was writing it, it was like going to therapy because, even in the introduction, it's like the questions of like, whose life are you living? Are you really living the life that you're destined to live? Are you living the life that's expected of you? And so, before a reader reads Live Free, I think that they got to get to the place where they're sick and tired. They're sick and tired of living by what everybody else wants and expects of them, but not really living the life they know is deep down in their heart. They got to get sick and tired of feeling like they're putting out so much energy and effort and getting very little in return. They got to get sick and tired of feeling like they keep getting the short end of the stick in life. That's what you got. That's where I have found those who read the book and they're in that position. It has just an exponential impact on their life because, to your point, if you're just trying to read this book and check it off your monthly book list, you're going to miss it. But if you're really looking for change in your life, the change that you and I want in our lives starts with change within. And so this is why I wanted to write this book, because the concept living free, when I say live free, it means that you are not under the mental, physical, or emotional control of anyone or anything. That you live by the expectations that you set, not by those imposed on you by others. So in order for someone to receive this book, they've got to get to the place where they're like, I need change. I need it now. And I no longer can continue the way that I am.
I love that. And in the book, you dive into several sets of expectations, which again, I thought was pretty dynamic, so that it's not all lumped together and then you get overwhelmed. But you first start off talking about personal expectations. And so I applaud you for starting with that one, because I think we're hardest on ourselves, regardless of everything else. Like you said, you're like, I'm a perfectionist and I was evaluating myself, and you're hitting all these milestones. You don't even know me, and I'm coming to the phone like, look, the weight is back there on that bookshelf. I was part of your, you've had impact on people from all over the world.
Yeah.
Even you struggle with this. So talk to me a little bit about personal expectations and just, we're not going to give too much away, but how do you see this holding people back? Because some of this stems from childhood. Let's be real.
Most of it stems from childhood. So here's the thing. The personal expectations is really about saying, okay, who am I? Where do I want to go? And how do I begin to put myself on that path? So a lot of times it comes from, our issues. Most of all of our issues are coming from childhood, right? Whatever trauma, tragedy, triumphs, whatever we experience, good and bad, we are all indelibly marked and shaped by our childhood. Now, when it comes to personal expectations, a lot of times in my experience, we end up, not really setting expectations for ourselves, meaning it doesn't mean we don't have expectations. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is a lot of our expectations have been influenced by everybody else. And we want to please our mother. We want to please our father. We want to please our friends. We want to please our cousin. We want to please our auntie. We want to please the church. We want whatever, so we're trying to please. We want to please everybody at the expense of sometimes pleasing ourselves. So these personal expectations in the personal section is first and foremost for me to have just time with you as a person and ask some questions. Whose life are you living right now? Whose life are you living? Are you really living your life, or are you living the life that everybody else is expecting of you? And those two things can be completely different. And that's why I wanted to write this section, because before we can get into the cultural and the relational and the professional, we have to have a level set of what the foundation means to personally set expectations. I also, in this section, I basically define what it means to set expectations. When an expectation is set, it means we ask two questions. One, is the expectation realistic or unrealistic? How do we know? Is it within our control? If something is within our control, I argue it's realistic to expect. Now, this is when it gets very interesting, because when you think about expectations first and foremost through the lens of the one question, now we can start to look at our life and say, oh, got it. Now I understand why I'm so frustrated, because I'm trying to control stuff that's out of my control.
Right.
And I'm treating here's the crazy thing. We treat what's out of our control as an expectation that if we don't hit it or we don't control it, then something's wrong with us, right? So you've got this great podcast. All right, wonderful. No matter how hard you try, you can't get people to listen to it. So if you put an expectation that I've got to have, 10,000 downloads or 100,000 downloads by next month, and then you make an assessment as to what that will mean if you don't, you are skating on thin ice and the sun is coming out. Why? Because no matter how hard you try, you don't control who tunes in to listen to this. You don't. What you control is the quality of your preparation, the quality of the program, the quality of your guests, the quality of your marketing and publicity. That's within your control. So you can have an expectation that I want to produce and create and host and market and publicize the type of show that can one day get these benchmarks. It all starts though with what's in your control, right? And understanding what is and what isn't. So you can set an expectation about your show. It just needs to be based in your control. So that's the first thing. The second thing you got to ask, is it spoken or unspoken? Meaning, is the expectation communicated or uncommunicated? This is also an area where we get in a lot of trouble.
Yes.
Because we're expecting things of everybody else. We never asked them.
Yep, there you go.
We never said, hey, if I do this for you, can I expect that you're going to do this for me? Or, hey, listen, it's so interesting. It's like I'm everything we talk about, I'm telling you, I'm living it and I go through it. So I just moved. We just moved out of our place because I'm here in New Mexico producing a movie, and Megan is in Atlanta. So we moved out of our place in LA because we just didn't need to have it. And so we'll figure out where we're going to live when we get back. So, my mother and my aunt came down to help my brother. My older brother lives in LA. And so he had asked me a couple of times, hey, you need help, you need help, you need help. And the old me was thinking like, if I'm moving, so maybe you're just asking, do I need help because you want to let yourself off the hook with me saying, oh no, whatever, right? Because we need help, so just show up, right? The old me would have made a judgment and gotten upset. But the me that lives free said, if I really need him, I have to tell him. I cannot have an unspoken expectation that he's supposed to know that I need him. I haven't actually told him I need him. And then I treat him as if I told him and get mad at him.
Oh, I'm triggered right now.
Woo! Come on.
Triggered.
Come on. Right?
My dog's like,
right. You get it. You know what I'm saying?
Expectation that you won't bark during this interview. Yes, that's so good. I mean, that is spot on.
Right?
But do you think overall society has a problem communicating? Do you think that technology and all these things have come into play where like the art of just communication is lost? Like what
No, I don't. No, I don't think the art is lost. If anything, we're communicating more than ever before. Right. I mean, through text messages, through emails, through DMs, through posts, through phone calls. You know, I mean, I think we're probably communicating more than we probably ever have in history. I think the thing is learning what real communication is.
Right.
You know, so for me, when we're talking about these expectations, it's literally saying, well, wait a minute. What I'm expecting this from this person, but have I actually asked them? And then have I given them a chance to say, yes, you can expect it of me. No, you can't. Simple, but it's like, oh, right. Okay. So yes, we're communicating more than ever before, but we aren't always applying that communication in the direction we want to go. Right. So if you want to go in the direction of more joy in your life, more peace in your life, more clarity in your life, then you've got to direct your communication in that way. And that's why you got to set your expectations by asking these two questions. Are they realistic or unrealistic? Are they communicated or uncommunicated? And once you do, and if something is within your control, and if it needs to be communicated, you've communicated it, now your expectation is set. And now that set expectation can be a foundation for your happiness and your freedom because you've done the work to set it. But if your expectation is unset, you will continuously find yourself unhappy.
Wow. So let me ask you this, because I wasn't expecting all that. So my mind is just like, okay, he's speaking to me. I gotta go back.
That's all right. That's all right. That's why we're here.
More work to do. As I was reading this and I was thinking about, I'm in book clubs, and then there's a lot of business coaches, and a lot of people went heavy into like personal and professional development, especially during COVID. And they go into it with, so let's just say top of 2021, you go into your goal setting, right? And, or a lot of people do visualization exercises, and they tell you to visualize beyond unrealistic things, right? In order to manifest these things in your life. Where does expectation come into play with that? Like, just because I feel like it's almost like the opposite of what we're being taught. We're being taught to go and visualize, like, even if it's not realistic, that you're going to be a multimillionaire, and that you're going to have all these homes, and that you're going to be this big wig. At what point, how do you balance the two?
Yeah. I mean, so I don't want to get, so super deep or metaphysical or whatever, but okay.
It's fine. There you do it. It's like,
I love it.
Neurologically, like how does that work in neuro, like brain stuff?
Right.
Like,
Right.
I was trying, that's what I struggled with.
Sure.
In that first bit of the book.
Okay, great question, great inquiry. I love it. So when we talk about, when you're talking about manifestation, or visualization, right? Connected to that is a vibration, right? So, there's a lot of theories and thoughts that, even in the Bible, according to your faith, be it unto you. So at what level you vibrate, you are able to then receive on that level. So your vibration, there's a connection between your vibration and your manifestation. So a lot of times what happens though, is that when you talk about, visualizing being a millionaire and visualizing all these houses, but those things never happen. Why? Because we actually don't have an expectation to support the vibration. And as a result, there's no manifestation.
Ooh, say that one more time.
We don't have an expectation to support the vibration. And as a result, there's no manifestation.
Oh, that's amazing.
Thank you all so much for tuning into this episode of PR Yourself with Leah Frazier. We're going to take a quick break, and I want to tell you about our sponsor, Branch Farms. You guys know that during the pandemic, I was dealing with a lot that had to deal with mental anxiety. I've been having to meditate. I've been having to find different sleep rituals so that I could sleep a little bit better because it's just been a little bit stressful. And so Branch Farms has helped me out with my CBD oil. It's been amazing. So I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about them today. They are family owned. And like the hemp plant, their roots are rich deep into the soil. For more than 100 years, Branch Farms has farmed in the Southeast Delta region of Arkansas, where agriculture has sustained this family-owned business for 4 generations. Branch Farms produces premium hemp-derived goods from soil to shelf, which means that they plant, harvest, process, and manufacture products, maintaining a high level of integrity during the entire product life cycle. Now, let me tell you guys, my favorite is the CBD oil that is mint flavored, and recently I tried the citrus flavor, and it's incredible. You just dab it right under your tongue, and I am immediately just feeling a wave of just calmness, and it's absolutely incredible. I've tried a lot of CBD oil out there, you guys. This one does not leave an aftertaste. It's so smooth, and like I said, it helps immediately. So just depending on whatever you need, there's a lot of different health benefits to CBD. I just want to give you guys the brand that I use because I've tried a lot. Being a journalist, I've had to test a lot of products, and Branch Farms is the CBD oil company for me. They have a lot of other products, so you guys just need to check them out at Branch Farms. That's actually P as in Peter, HARM as in Mama, S as in Sam.com. So to purchase their full and broad spectrum CBD oil lines or learn more about their wholesale opportunities, including white labeling and vendor partnerships, go ahead and visit branchfarms.com. We'll have that in the caption. And you can enter my code Leah15 for 15% off of your order. This promo code is active now through December 31st, 2021, but you're going to want to go ahead and order that today because it is amazing. And so thank you guys for tuning in. And now back to this episode on PR Yourself with Leah Frazier.
So let me unpack that. So the expectation is a strong belief that something will happen in the future.
Yes.
Right? That's what it means. So how do I get to a place where I actually have a strong belief about something? I have to build confidence in my life that gives me more support for that belief.
Right.
So for example, since you talked about, money and whatnot. So, I came, when I was a child, we were on welfare, right? My father died when I was 9 years old. He died of a heart attack at 36. My mother didn't have enough money for my brothers and my older brother, my younger brother. I'm the middle child of 3 boys. We were on welfare. We wore hand-me-downs, to school. I mean, I remember, powdered milk. All right. And, generic cereal with no labels, just straight from the government. I remember, everything the beans and the cheese and all of it. Right. So as I grew into, the entertainment business and started, my path in Hollywood, while I had a belief, while I had a desire, right, I wanted to manifest more money. I had a belief system that worked against that.
Yes. Oh, limited beliefs. Yes.
So here's the truth. Here's the truth. If you can work on these manifestations all day, if it's not supported by a belief, it will never happen. So the way that I built a stronger belief about manifesting more money was to get into a stronger confidence about who I was and my offering to the world. And so what I mean by that is that the more that I progressed in my career, the more that I got more confidence in myself, and the more I got into an awareness of my value, I said, oh, okay. Oh, got it. So I do have what it takes to make it. I am successful. I can get movies made. Oh, okay. So the more that I built that confidence, the strength of my belief increased. So then my expectation, right, of like, okay, what's in my control? What's in my control is my attitude. What's in my control is my disposition. What's in my control is how I negotiate. What's in my control is not settling for less. So the more that I set my expectation, then I was able to have a vibration that then led to the manifestation. So now, what I receive is much greater than what I was receiving at the beginning of my career, not just because I've progressed, but because I've been able to live in a higher manifestation. When you say according to your faith, right? Be it unto you. That's real. It's really the code to what we're talking about, right? But a lot of times we're having faith in something we don't actually believe. It's almost like rubbing the genie. I just want to have all these visualizations and hopefully one of them will come true. No, sorry. If you want to rub a genie, you got to go to Aladdin and be in the movies for that. That is not real, right? That is not real. And I think that's when people, again, I know years ago, people were into The Secret and all that kind of stuff. And I think there are elements of that are based in some reality. But I think where people went wrong with it was thinking that, I can just think about anything and, that's going to happen. And then it didn't happen. People got upset, right? We're talking about expectation. I expected. I could just do The Secret. I could just sit here all day and think, and stuff's going to happen. And nothing happened. Bills piled up. I didn't get the house. I didn't get no car. Didn't even get a job. I lost my job. The Secret doesn't work, right? Because the expectation that it was going to be the end all be all. No. Anything external is never going to be the answer to what's internal. In order for us to get to a level of manifestation where those things can happen, they have to be supported by that expectation, which is a strong belief. And how do we build our belief system? By building more confidence. You look at someone, like an Oprah or a Tyler Perry. The rules are no different for them than they are for anybody else. How are they able to manifest on that level? Because they believe on that level. They have confidence on that level. So, it's like, oh yeah, this is just how I live. No problem. It's like, no big deal. Okay, great. Yeah, this is how I live. I live this way. I'm a billionaire. This is what I got. It's just life. Hey, yeah, right. Okay, cool. Now I can offer more service. It is what it is, right? But some of us like, oh man, am I worthy of $1 billion? How do I, and then we aren't actually living in a way, right? So what I mean by that, again, long answer to your question. I did not mean to go down this rabbit hole.
This is great because I'm telling you, I was reading it like I'm having an internal conflict.
Yes. Okay. Good. So with the book, and the reason why I wrote the book is that, I really want to give people more confidence to be able to operate more in their gifting, right? So that there's it's like, I don't want you to wish. I wish. No, I want you to know. There's a difference between knowing who we are and what's going to happen, and then allowing the time it's required for that to happen. There's a total difference in how I live my life when I know versus when I wish. When we wish, we don't actually believe. We're playing spiritual lotto. I wish. I wish one day. Versus I know. And because I know, it impacts how I live. So I'm not living based on a wish, which means, some days if you're living on a wish, some days you may be disciplined, some days you may be not, some days you get up and you're happy, some days you're not. But when you know,
right,
you get up with intent.
That's right. You
live with purpose. Again, we talk about let's use your podcast as an example. Again, I don't know how big it is or isn't. I have no idea. I don't even know what your aspirations are for it. I'm assuming you have some. But if you know that you've got a dope podcast and you are a dope host, that's very different than saying, I started this podcast and I wish it'll work. And, I wish people would see me as a host. Like those are two different energies. And one energy is not going to get you what you want, and the other will get you closer to it. Now, what it's going to look like, that's the part we got to surrender.
Right.
You can know you have the dopest podcast on the planet and you're the dopest podcast host and you want the podcast to grow. Great. I know these things will happen. How it will look, I've got to relax because that's out of my control. Right? That in order to have the manifestation, it's got to be supported by the vibration, which has to be supported by the expectation. If I'm trying to do things that are out of my control, my expectation is off. So it's a vibration, so it's a manifestation, right? So what's in my control is the knowing. What's in my control is the discipline. What's in my control is my attitude, right? Because that attitude is connected to the vibration,
Right.
right? If my attitude, because here, why is our vibration go up and down? Because it's sometimes we tether it to, well, it hasn't happened yet. On the uncertainty of what we want to know, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'm feeling down today. No, I don't know. This is false hope. What am I doing? It ain't never gonna work, right? So then our vibration just goes straight into the toilet, versus saying, you know what, I know it. And guess what? In a moment when I'm starting to, get a little uncertain, I'm just gonna step back from everything. I'm gonna take a run. I'm gonna take a walk. I'm just gonna, do some push-ups. I just gotta get my mind off it. I'm thinking too much. I just gotta get in the knowing. Because when I'm in the knowing, I know what that feels like. And when I feel right and my expectation is set, then my vibration is right. And I can guarantee whatever's supposed to manifest will. So long answer to your question.
Oh, perfect. Just, I'm telling you, I was like, why am I struggling with this one thing? Like, maybe it's because I just did goals, right? And then you set all these goals. And then I'm going through meditation training right now for my certification. So we deal with vibrations and energy and relax and release and all these things and visualization. And so I'm reading your book and I'm like, how can we marry all of these together so that they're not in conflict, but that they make sense? That makes sense.
Nice.
That makes sense. So I'm very happy with that answer. What I do want to talk about, I know we're limited on time, but you do talk about cultural expectations, and we were talking about faith. I want to dive a little bit into maybe the expectations of the church. I feel like a lot of people right now are struggling faith-wise, just given everything that's going on in the world. They don't know how to feel. You've got some people that are avoiding therapy because maybe Jesus and God, they're going to save everything, right? And then you have others that are like, for myself, I was going through meditation and I had people culturally telling me like that was linked to like demonic energy. And I'm like, really? Because I want to live to my highest being. So how are these cultural expectations not allowing us to live free as well? And what do we need to evaluate?
Mm-hmm. So here's what we have to evaluate, especially when you talk about culture, specifically when you talk about coming from communities of faith. I've been raised in a community of faith. I've been a Christian all my life, been in the church all my life. What I know is that if someone doesn't feel free, they can't support you in you becoming free. If someone feels judged, they are more than likely going to judge you. If someone feels held back, inadvertently, they may try to hold you back. So when you think about that in the context of, communities of faith, in my experience, what should be a community that is the most loving and the most liberated end up becoming the most judgmental and the most critical. Why? Because a lot of times we especially talking about being Christian, we talk about the love of Jesus, right? And the love of God as the way to get people to convert, to give their life to Jesus, right? So I'm going to give my life to Jesus. He is my Savior. I'll be washed of my sins and I will walk with him eternally. Great. That we get them into the body of Christ, so to speak, through the power of love. Right. But then we socialize them out of love and into religion. Mm-hmm. You can't say this. You can't say that. You can't wear this. You can't wear that. You can't go here. You can't do that. Right? So what gets them in the door is love. But then we socialize them through judgment, through ridicule, through at times hate. And so in my experience, one of the reasons why I wrote this book is because, again, I was raised in the church and I wanted to go to Hollywood. I wanted to make movies. And a lot of people in my church community were like, no, don't do that. It's Sodom and Gomorrah. It's the devil's playground. You're going to lose your faith. You're going to have to compromise your faith. And so I was like, oh, got it. So you're telling me from the choices you've had to make. Yeah. And because you had dreams that you did not, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, hold on 1 second. Sorry, something happened with my ear. Okay, sorry. I'm just have a technical glitch here. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear
Okay, now I can hear you. For some reason, it was trying to switch over to my AirPods, which are
you.
not open. So here's the thing. In the church, it's like, okay, if I feel right, if I feel like, oh, you know what, as DeVon, I'm gonna allow my life to be completely dictated by your experience, then I'm gonna become a version of what's comfortable for you, not the version of who I am. And there's a scripture that says, Jesus says, who the Son sets free is free indeed. That scripture is talking about from the power of sin. But the idea that the ultimate penalty is death, the wages of sin is death. So if Jesus has freed us from sin, why then would I allow myself to be in a prison of your thoughts and your ideas and your opinions? That's all right. What's up, little man? Why would I allow myself to be in a prison of your thoughts and your opinions? I wouldn't. I wouldn't do it. Why would I not do it? Because I have to go experience for myself. And so in my experience, Leah, this is when, I wrote this book for everybody, but I really pray those in the church catch it, because we are called to love and we are called to live. And you have got to experience, okay, well, what is meditation? I don't know. Let me go figure it out. Let me decide for me if it is demonic, if it is of God. Where does it fit? I will never know unless I go do some investigation for myself. And guess what? God is God. He can handle my investigation. He can handle my journey. The people in the church may not be able to, but guess what? They don't have a cross to put me on. They don't have a grave to put me in, period. They don't have a heaven to take me to. So we got to get to the place where we are living so free that we offer love to those who aren't free yet. So when people, there are people right now who I've never met, who have done YouTube videos against me and all these things.
I was like, how, just even just hearing you speak about it, I'm like, for someone that gives so much to the world, I wonder how you kind of relax and release all of this, because it's like you and Megan could be doing something at the church for the church.
Right.
And then I'm like, do you avoid the comments? And then you go in the comments and it's like, y'all are missing the message.
Yeah,
you
listen.
didn't hear what was coming out of his mouth. And it's just like,
yeah, but it's okay though. It's all right, because again, like if I'm free and you're free, that freedom energetically causes disruption for those who are not.
That's true. Very true.
So it's distortion. So if someone's not free and they're like, no, it's got to be this way, and they hear what I'm saying, which is on a different vibration, it's on a different level, the sound's gonna get distorted. It's like being on a radio station and you can't quite hear, not because the broadcast isn't clear. It's that the reception that you aren't quite tuned in. So the broadcaster sounds clear, but the way you may hear it sounds distorted. So as a result, you comment based on the distortion. But if you were in the booth with the broadcaster, or you tuned in to that right station, you'd be able to hear it clearly. So I look at it and I offer love. For those that have the comments and whatever, it's okay. Like, hey, guess what? If anything, it's confirmation that we're doing the right thing, because I've never experienced someone make an impact in the world without the criticism that goes along with it. So it's expected, and because it's expected, it allows me to deal with it. That's
awesome. That's such a good outlook, and I just think it's just a resonating theme of just release.
You got to do it. We got to do it.
So, like, moving along, you talked about cultural. I really wanted to talk about that aspect of the church. You also in the book talk about cancel culture, which is like so relevant right now, but y'all just gonna have to go get the book, because I want to get to these relational expectations. So you move from that section into relational expectations with one another. And then you hit on an expectationship, which I thought like that was a very interesting word about our expectations that we kind of place within our relationships that could be causing us some grief and
Oh
some
yeah.
stress.
Oh
So
yeah. Yeah.
talk
I mean, I
about
put this
that
in.
a little bit.
Yeah, I put this in the book, and this is why I'm so excited about, this book and believing that it's going to change people's lives, because it can shine a light to say, oh, wait a minute, I'm not in a friendship, right? Or I'm not even in a relationship. I'm in an expectation ship. What that means is, as long as I do what's expected, the benefits of the friendship or relationship are available to me. As long as I do what they expect me to do, when they expect me to do it, we're good. But heaven forbid I step out of their expectation. Oh, wait a minute. The phone calls don't get returned. The text messages, go unread. There's friction. But then all of a sudden I get back to doing what they want me to do. Oh, hey, right? And then also sometimes we can be the ones that have these expectations of everybody else.
Sure.
And then they don't meet our expectation and we write them off. Oh, I'm never calling that person again. I'm not texting that person, right? Because I did this for them and then they didn't do this for me, right? No, 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 no. If you love someone, you set them free. I don't want you to do anything for me out of duress. I want you to do it because it's what's in your heart. So from a friendship or a relationship, if we can do that because we're both free and we make the choice to contribute to each other in a positive way, great. Or we use our communication. Hey, can I expect this from you? Can I expect that from you? And you give the other person the okay to say it or to do it. But I wrote that in the book because that expectation ship, sometimes, we can find ourselves in having so many of them,
Yeah.
not realizing that we don't actually have real friendships.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's tough.
Yeah, it is.
That's tough. And I will be honest with you, I have let quite a low vibrating people go, quite a few go during this time, just because I'm like, I don't have to have the capacity to deal with this, like I'm going to release any of the negativity. And like you said, maybe I had an expectation for that person to change.
That's right.
Or because you've been my friend for however many years, I'm expecting, we have these expectations for each other without realizing, like, man, this pandemic has pushed me on a growth path to something higher, and you just can't go there with me. And it's okay. And the moment I started releasing all these people, it was almost like, just releasing, like removing anchors. I was able to just kind of sail away and move. And it was just, so I just think that all of these pieces together are so important. Like, I mean, I've just imagined, because it's your book. You just must feel like you're just like floating. You're just like oxygen, like in the air. Just like,
hey, I wrote it, and the hardest part about a book, honestly, is not even the writing. It's just the getting it to the world, and letting people know that it's here and what it is. And because I believe anyone who reads it, their life will change in a positive way. I believe that. So, my greatest, hope is that, it'll get to as many people as it possibly can.
And it will. It'll be a New York Times bestseller. And then we'll just have to update the caption. Like, now.
All right, let's go. I love it. I'm with you.
And then the last section is professional. So I kind of like in that section with the same mindset of our personal expectations, but professional can be a little bit different. You talk again about being realistic. So is there anything within our professional expectations, especially for this body of listeners, that you feel led to speak about, that you talk about in the book, that you're seeing as like maybe a theme within the pandemic?
Yeah, definitely. I have a whole section. I have chapters worth of information for anyone looking to know and learn how to set your professional expectations, which I believe will get you more success in your career and in your job. One of the things that I talk about, in the professional expectation section of this book, is about the process is the result. So often we think the result is the result, but it's really about the process. Why is that important? Because you talk about people been navigating the job market in the pandemic. So a lot of times, the result is, I want a job, I need a job, or I want a better job. That's the result I'm looking for. No problem at all. Nothing wrong with wanting that result. However, if someone obsesses over the result, which they don't control, at the expense of not focusing on the process, which they do control, they may never actually get the result they seek. So in the case of wanting the job or a better job, what is the process in terms of, if you, let's say you're unemployed and you want a job, what's the process you can control? How you navigate LinkedIn, how many resumes you're submitting on a daily basis, how many leads you're following up on, who you're asking for, help and recommendations and referrals, what sort of job development can you do independently, whether it's, hey, if you don't have the money for, online classes, doing YouTube, there's so much YouTube classes that you can take for free. What are you doing on a day-to-day basis to better yourself professionally and to invest in your job search? The more you put into your process, you ultimately are going to get the result. Now, let's say you're in a job and you're looking to get promoted. Now, this is something that's very important. The promotion is out of your control.
Right.
How? Because you, unless you're the CEO, you don't actually have the ability to give yourself the promotion. So if you're seeking a promotion or an advancement in your job, what do you control? You can control your attitude. You can control your productivity. You can control what type of colleague you are. You can control how you make your boss's life easier. You can control how well you do your job. You can control your excellence. There's so much in your control. And in my experience, when you focus on those things, whether you get promoted at the current job or another job, comes seeking you out, you're going to get where you want to be because you put so much time in the process. Let's say you're looking to change a job. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But do me a favor. If you are currently taking a check, remember, every time that check is direct deposited, it comes with an expectation. And if you are not meeting the expectations of the check you are getting, it is crazy for you to expect that a better job or a better situation is coming. Treat the current job like it's the job you want, and the job you want will be yours soon enough. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a dead-end job. You could hate it. If you hate it so much, quit. But do not do a disservice to yourself by rendering service less than you are capable of with the excuse, I'm over this job. If you're over it, leave. But as long as you get that check, don't just meet the expectation, work on exceeding it. Last thing I'll say about professional. You do not get promoted by meeting expectations. That's the job. You're being paid to meet an expectation. You position yourself for promotion and advancement in your career because you exceed expectations. You learn what is expected of me in this position. What does my boss expect of me? And let me not only work to meet it, but let me do everything I can to exceed it. Every professional advancement that I've had in the entertainment business, going from unpaid intern to paid intern to assistant to junior executive to more senior executive at Columbia Pictures to now running my own production company and having deals with major studios all across the business. That progression has come because at every step, I'm trying to exceed expectations. At every step. How can I offer more service? How can I be more committed? How can I go the extra mile? Not because I need to prove myself to myself. I know who I am. I'm offering this service because I recognize that the exceeding the expectation is what's going to give me what I want, which is the advancement. So anyone listening or watching, you got to make yourself a committee of one. I am going to make a commitment to exceed expectations wherever I am, professionally. It's different when we're talking about personal, cultural, and relational expectations. But professionally, because they're an exchange of money, that exchange of money means now you're accountable. When you go ahead and spend that direct deposit, it means you said yes to the expectation. If you don't want the expectation, give the money back. Period. But as long as you take that check, you got to say, all right, I don't want to just meet expectations. I want to exceed them. And I guarantee if you make yourself a committee of one to exceed professional expectations, you're good. You're good. You're gonna be, I promise you'll be just fine.
I love that. That was amazing. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna just rewatch some of this for myself. Because now I'm like tired, like I gotta get back to work. But no, this was amazing. I feel like your book, Live Free, is just a total mindset shift. And like I was saying, you're just going to be unpacking. It's an onion. You're just going to be pulling back layers and layers and layers, things that you didn't even know about yourself, rediscovering things about yourself, rediscovering what you like, what you love, who you want to be around, who you don't want to be around. And to your point, then reaching a point to where you feel free. You reach a point of liberation. And now you can move towards purpose, which I think at the end of the day is what all of us desire as human beings, or hopefully we do.
Amen.
And that's God's intention for each and every one of us. So I'm so excited. I mean, just hearing you speak, I'm like, I gotta do a book club with this now.
I love it.
So I'm like, well, we gotta figure out. I'm gonna start a book club so everybody can, so we can all live free.
I love it.
Give you an update.
Let's do it. Keep me posted.
What's next? What's new? Anything else you want to let the audience know before we wrap?
Yeah, no, I mean, this is it. It's really about the book. I mean, I'm getting ready to start production on my next movie. So, I'm here in New Mexico working on that, and but very passionate about this message and just want everybody to hopefully be blessed by it.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. On sale May the 4th. Go and buy it. Go to his website, go to Amazon. You guys know what to do. It'll be in the caption. If you like this episode, subscribe, rate, and review. Reach out to DeVon. He's very active on social media. So please take snippets, tag him, and tag PR Yourself Podcast on Instagram. Thank you, DeVon, for being such an amazing guest. And we wish you nothing but the best. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you, Leah.
Until next time, thank you.
For sure.
Bye.